Imagination does not become great until human beings, given the courage and the strength, use it to create. The true basis of the imagination is reality. Our care of the child should be governed not by the desire to make him learn things, but by the endeavor always to keep burning within him that light which is called intelligence. Do not erase the designs the child makes in the soft wax of his inner life. It is not enough for the teacher to love the child. She must first love and understand the universe. She must prepare herself and truly work at it. From the child itself, she will learn how to perfect herself as an educator. Never help a child with a task at which he feels he can succeed. We call an individual disciplined when he is master of himself, and can therefore regulate his own conduct when it shall be necessary to follow some rule of life. We cannot know the consequences of suppressing a child's spontaneity when he is just beginning to be active. We may even suffocate life itself. Children are human beings to whom respect is due, superior to us by reason of their innocence and of the greater possibilities of their future. The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say, "The children are now working as if I did not exist." The best instruction is that which uses the least words sufficient for the task. Establishing lasting peace is the work of education. All politics can do is keep us out of war. Preventing war is the work of politicians. Establishing peace is the work of educationists. We serve the future by protecting the present. No social problem is as universal as the oppression of the child. If salvation and help are to come, it is through the child, for the child is the constructor of man. Within the child lies the fate of the future. If education is always to be conceived along the same antiquated lines of a mere transmission of knowledge, there is little to be hoped from it in the bettering of man's future. Of all things, love is the most potent. But the love of man for man is a far more tender thing, and so simple that it is universal. To love in this way is not the privilege of any especially prepared intellectual class, but lies within the reach of all men. Scientific observation then has established that education is not what the teacher gives. Education is a natural process spontaneously carried out by the human individual and is acquired not by listening to words but by experiences upon the environment. The environment must be rich in motives which lend interest to activity. The environment acts more strongly upon the individual life, the less fixed and strong this individual life may be. To stimulate life, leaving it free, however, to unfold itself, that is the first duty of the educator. A teacher simply assists him at the beginning to get his bearings. She introduces him to the ordered and active life of the environment. But then she leaves him free in the choice and execution of his work. Respect all the reasonable forms of activity in which the child engages and try to understand them. The task of the educator lies in seeing that the child does not confound good with immobility and evil with activity. Our work is not to teach, but to help the absorbent mind in its work of development. The things he sees are not just remembered, they form a part of his soul. Others, after having studied children carefully, have come to the conclusion that the first 2 years are the most important of life. Education during this period must be intended as a help to the development of the psychic powers inherent in the human individual. Only through freedom and environmental experience is it practically possible for human development to occur. To assist a child, we must provide him with an environment which will enable him to develop freely. children become like the things they love? The educator must be as one inspired by a deep worship of life and must, through this reverence, respect, while he observes with human interest the development of the child life. As a rule, however, we do not respect our children. We try to force them to follow us without regard to their special needs. We are overbearing with them and, above all, rude, and then we expect them to be submissive and well behaved. There does exist, however, an external prize for man. He experiences something so great that it can only be likened to the intense joy with which one discovers that he is loved. Our joy is to touch and conquer souls, and this is the one prize which can bring us a true compensation. Maria Montessori was an Italian physician, educator, and visionary who transformed modern education. One of the first female doctors in Italy, she began her work with children in underserved communities and developed what became the Montessori method, an approach grounded in scientific observation, independence, and respect for the child. Her philosophy centered on the belief that education is a natural process driven by the child's inner developmental forces. Rather than imposing knowledge, the teacher prepares an environment that allows curiosity, discipline, and intelligence to unfold organically. Today, Montessori schools operate across the globe, influencing early childhood education, developmental psychology, and progressive pedagogy. Her legacy endures not merely as a method, but as a profound redefinition of childhood itself.